That does not give a person the right to say that, to generalize us, oh, they're going to have the same outcome. That does not give you the right. We are still individuals. Don't tell her, but I'm a huge fan of, I needed to be a part of this.
I'm just gonna go ahead and create something over here.
Coming up on Another Act, I chat with Michael K. Williams about his new film, Body Brokers, and of course, why Omar Little is the best written television character of all time.
Michael, this new film is inspired by true events, and that feels like a common thread when it comes to what you gravitate towards as an actor. Was that one of the reasons that made you say yes to Body Brokers?
Yeah, yeah. It was, it's also, I read the script if I relate to it, fictional or facts. That's the number one. How much depth is in the storytelling, the character, so things like that. But the fact that this is a true story and it's something that's kind of, it's close to my heart for personal reasons. It's no secret that I'm in recovery. I talk about that a lot. I, remember the times when I wasn't living my best life and I would be up and see these commercials about, these rehabs in Malibu, and I would look at them as a ray of hope, and to hear now that it was all, BS, it was a bit jarring. And then I was like, well, this whole thing kind of, it reminds me of something. And I was like, what does it remind me of? I was like, oh, yeah, okay, for-profit prisons. When did we stop calling it the correctional facility and to prisons? And the same time that happened is the same way that, we stopped caring about rehabilitating people with addicts and just caring more about filling the beds. And there's something that is extra deplorable about that. For all of those reasons, I needed to be a part of this story. And don't tell her, but I'm a huge fan of Melissa Leo.
She's amazing, actually.
She's a beast. She's a beast.
And I was gonna ask, because of your very personal story, if you read this script maybe differently than you read other scripts, because it probably felt a bit more personal to you.
Yes, I did. And I'll tell you why it read differently for me. It was because of the character of Wood. Oftentimes I find that when Hollywood tells narratives of the addict or the recovering addict, all the focus is on the drug. But then, there's this other shoe that, at the end of the movie, the person either dies or, they put the drug and the alcohol down, and then it's all roses, which that could be further, nothing could be further from the truth. Wood was a perfect example of that. Recovery is messy, sloppy, and it's never a straight road. There's relapses, a lot of things that go into a person seeking their recovery, their sobriety. And Wood is a perfect example of that. He has his moral compass is completely off kilter. He has character flaws. He does things for the wrong reasons. And we get to see what recovery really looks like, and how it can be messy and not black and white the way we often say.
Is perhaps, and I know you already know where I'm going, there is perhaps no better written character for television than Omar Little. And it is one of the greatest things that so many of us have ever seen. Was it challenging for you to get people to see past Omar as you were looking to move on from that role in The Wire?
I never had space to hold in my little peanut for what people thought or people's expectations. I'm my biggest critic, and I beat myself for more than anybody else could. And for me, I had to learn how to release Omar. That was the hardest thing I ever, I was young in my career. This was a breakout role, and it was the first time I'd done any one thing for this length of time. And I didn't know how to let that go. And, that was, for someone like me with my past, that was crippling. And when it came time to release Omar, I didn't have a leg to stand on. I kind of bought the farm. That became the reason why I started to have a self-confidence or the job I became the job. I didn't start to begin to see myself and to work on myself until Boardwalk Empire came around.
Mm. You know, I think what's so great is when I look at the entirety of your career, you didn't, especially after Omar, didn't allow yourself to be boxed into one specific type of character. I don't know if that was intentional, that you really wanted to show the spectrum of different dramatic characters that you could bring to life. But talk to me a little bit about that, because I know for Black actors and for Black male actors in particular, that can be a bit of a struggle to get people to see you as more than a gangbanger or thug number two, or whatever the roles are out there that are being offered. What was that like for you?
I remember shortly after The Wire was coming to an end, or after it ended, I remember, you know, aren't you afraid of being typecasted? Aren't you afraid of being typecasted? I was like, I'm afraid of not eating. Like, man, it's my job. What are you talking about? When I started to really analyze the question, in my mind, I was like, oh, the same pen that they use to redline my community is the same pen that they are writing this question with. Am I afraid of being typecasted? I'm a dark-skinned Black man. I don't get to assimilate into any other experience. I grew up in the community where my characters come from. The fact that I was thug number two, or whatever, from the hood, this gangster, whatever. Those are real people to me, and I quickly saw that as a huge responsibility, and I wore that as a badge of honor. I get to represent my community and people that come from my community and people that look like me. I get to represent them on a screen, and I have got to do them justice. I saw a lot of good people, a lot of potential lost because of that feeling of desperation and loss. So I know their mothers, I know their aunts, I know their sisters. I saw the missed opportunities, or the lack of opportunities, that led someone with a lot of potential down a road to make bad choices. I saw that. I had a front row seat to that. That still does not give a person the right to say that, to generalize us, oh, they're going to have the same outcome. That does not give you the right. We are still individuals. And I take that into every character. And then I say, it's also my job to bring empathy and compassion. At the end of you watching a performance of any one of my hood characters, my job is to make sure that you leave with some sort of compassion and human empathy.
I loved everything about that answer. That was phenomenal. By definition, you are just truly a phenomenal character actor. And I know so much has been talked about what you did with Omar to really bring him to life. But I would love to hear how that's played out with other characters that you have played since him. Like, what's that process been like for you?
I used dream assignments. My coach and I, goalie Sammy, there's this old, some ancient Indian practice where we access the subconscious mind through our dreams. I do that work again. It's called dream assignments. It's been articles with Bradley Cooper did a full page article in the New York Times about his work with dream assignments. Emma Stone, the other gentleman that she co-starred from La La Land, that was all dream assignments. I've added that, and I started doing dreams right around my character of Jack G, opposite my sister Queen Latifah and Bessie. I started doing dreams with my homie.
I love that. And I love hearing how important music is to you, because I know that you started off as a dancer, which makes me wonder if down the line at some point, there's an appetite for you to do something maybe a little lighter than what we've seen from you do before. Like, is there a romantic comedy? Is there a musical? Is there something that gets you to tap into that dance background that you are interested in doing in the future? Is that something you've been thinking about?
Absolutely. I'm in love with Black love. The blacker the better. I'm a product of Black love, and we don't see enough of that. and in my opinion, in Hollywood. You know, it's no secret, man. You know, she knows. I mean, no disrespect to her relationship. I love Lupita Nyong'o, man. I would love to see us, you know, in that space, you know, working together, you know, being vehicles to represent Black love. There's a long list of actresses, man, that I respect their craft, and I would love to explore that, man, and for us to love on each other on the set in regards to that. You know, in regards to my dance background, you know, there's an old saying, if I hear the music, I'm gonna dance. So you get, if there's an opportunity for me to you know, bring my dance background into a role in a heartbeat, I would do it. But
the streets are talking. Well, listen, the streets have been talking about Michael K. Williams. How about that? Thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me today. It has truly been a pleasure.